Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this meeting of the Licensing and Regulatory Committee. Just a reminder that this meeting is being filmed and broadcast live and will be available to watch afterwards as well. So with that in mind, just make sure that when you speak, you have the microphone on and in front of you and you speak clearly, please. So first thing on the agenda is apologies for absence. We've received apologies from Councillors Wilson, Clark, Knight, Widdowson, Smalley and Kilbane. Next on the agenda is declarations of interest. Does anybody have any disclosable interests to declare on in relation to any items on the agenda? No, I'm not seeing any indications to speak, so we'll move on to agenda item 3, which is to consider excluding the press and public from the meeting during consideration of agenda item 7. I'll go to Matt on this one.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Matt Boxall, Head of Public Protection. On this, there's no reason to go into private session on item number 7 because spoiler alert, you'll hear that there isn't actually any information to give. So therefore, there's no legal basis to go into private session, and the item can remain in public.
All right, so we'll move on to agenda item 4, which is minutes. We've got minutes from our meeting in March for approval. Is everybody happy with them as an accurate record, or does anybody have any amendments to propose? Okay, shall I approve those as an accurate record? Everybody comfortable with that? Great, thank you very much, everybody. I'll do that. Agenda item 5, public participation. We haven't got any members of the public registered to speak today, so we will move on to agenda item 6, which is Primate licensing report.
Thank you, Chair. I'm Leslie Cook, the Council's licensing manager. This report is to advise members of the Animal Welfare Primate Licenses England Regulations 2024 and seeks members just a slight amendment recommendation to Council that we implement some fees for this new licensing function. This licensing function came into force earlier this week. We're not aware of any private keepers of primates, but we have to be prepared just in case there are. So therefore, we need to set a fee. As it stands, we still don't have any official statutory guidance from DEFRA. We are hoping that will be coming in due course. But as it stands, we don't have that. At paragraph 11, I have set fees for a 1 year, a 2 year and a 3 year licence. As we've never licensed primates before, I have looked at the fees that we already set as a council for other animal licensing functions, and I have estimated the fees on a cost recovery process, taking those other licensing functions into consideration. There hasn't been a consultation with regards to this report, but DEFRA did do a consultation prior to bringing in the primate licensing regulations. So the options for members are that members note the content of the report and recommend to Council that the fee set at, at 14, it should say paragraph 11, at paragraph 11 are implemented, or option 2, that members note the content of the report and ask officers to reassess fees. So that's a very quick overview of the report.
That's great. Thank you very much. Do members have any questions? Yes, Councillor Hook.
Thank you. I think there'll be quite a few primates because it includes marmosets that can be really small and kept in humane bird cages and things like that. So I think you will suddenly find a lot coming out the woodwork, literally. It's just a case of this obviously needs a specialist vet. So have you actually consulted where the specialist vets are that are aware of, have had experience of primates?
With regards to zoo licensing and riding establishment licensing, in the DEFRA guidance, statutory guidance to licensing authorities for them, they stipulate what vets we can use, and we're assuming this will be the same, that we have to go look at the DEFRA register and say, well, that vet is relatively close to York, we will use that vet. So we're assuming it will be the same.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that presumably they could command quite good fees if they've got that experience, and therefore we have charged them enough to cover those fees.
Yeah, any fees that are payable for a vet will be payable in addition to the fee we set. So that's the same with any licensing we do where a vet may be involved. Yeah.
Any other questions? No, in that case, would anybody like to propose anything? The options are on near the top of page 19, though obviously option 1 is changed slightly to be a recommendation for council rather than a approval. Yeah, Councillor Cuthbertson?
It was option 1, Chair.
Yeah, seconding it, Councillor Mason? Yeah, great. Any debate on that or any other proposals? No, we'll take a vote then. All those in favour of option 1, that members note the contents of this report and agree to recommend to council to implement the fees as shown at paragraph 11. All those in favour? And that's unanimous, so I won't go through abstentions or against. So thank you very much, everybody. That's agreed. And we'll move on to agenda item 7, which is a verbal update on Club Salvation.
Right, thank you, Chair. Just to let everybody know, this item was not put on the agenda at the request of officers. It was, I believe it was put on at the request of a member. So the verbal update I can give you is the information that has been in the local press. And there's been reports in the local press that the police are investigating allegations with regards to spiking. And I can't tell you any further. I'm just aware of what has been in the press.
And we can't really discuss this, we can't say do anything that might prejudice ourselves or affect ongoing criminal cases. So I think we have to leave it there on that agenda item, and there's no urgent business. So that's everything for this meeting.
This particular case.
I don't understand the question, but it isn't urgent business. So I think I'll close the meeting there and then we can put what on the agenda? Well,
That's on the agenda, and then if you ask questions.
well, what's on the agenda is a verbal update. We've had that verbal update. And I think we have to leave it there.
Chair, yes, I mean, as Sandra Brannigan, the legal, I don't know what's on my senior lawyer. Yes, I mean, as the licensing manager has said, the officer update is very short and brief. It's what's already in the public domain. I don't think officers have anything else to add. I don't know what the process question is specifically in relation to Club Salvation. I don't know, but I don't think members have any other officers have any other information to impart at this stage.
I suppose, why did we print that we would go into public session potentially? And why did we not reply to me then saying what this update would be if it wasn't an opportunity to ask questions, even if it was about process of reviewing applications? Just feels like it's, I can understand you want to shut it down, it might prejudice something else, but I just think, you know, you've got to look at the transparency angle as well, that you published update about something that is relatively high profile and then not accept any questions and not saying we can go into public private session and ask questions.
I mean, the process for how to review a licence, we were told that in our training when we joined this committee, and it is publicly available on the website. So I don't see any harm in that information being provided now, just what the process is to review a licence.
Well, I mean, it's a bit more nuanced question than that, but yeah.
Just to add, Chairman, if I may come in, just in regard to going into private session, obviously this meeting, all meetings should be held in public session unless there are legal reasons for going into private session. And I don't think that there is any, as Matt has already said, there is no legal reason to go into private session because members don't have any information to give, which would warrant going into private session as one of the exemptions under the Local Government Act.
I don't disagree. If you don't want to answer questions on it in public, that's fine. I think we just have to leave it there, but I think it's disappointing.
Yeah, well, yeah, so we'll leave it there then for that agenda item and for the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time this evening. Enjoy.